Now at 5, another big change is possible for thousands of Indianapolis school students. The new look to the start of the school year for IPS.
The first school district to close amid COVID-19 is now among the first to reopen. I'm Stephanie Wade, talking with families as they send their kids back to school today.
And tonight we pay our respects to a former governor, a war hero, and a longtime public servant, Joe Kernan.
This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Now at 5, students return to class today for the first time since March in Avon, as the state's largest school district considers keeping all students home until October. All decisions based on how to return kids safely back to school. Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins, continuing to practice social distancing from my home studio.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino at the RTV6 studio. We start tonight with big news from Indianapolis Public Schools, the state's largest school district, as they work for a safe back-to-school return. Now, the district informed parents today the board will vote tomorrow on a recommendation by administrators to begin the school year with total remote learning when classes start August 17th. If approved, in-person learning will be delayed until at least October 2nd. Administrators believe this will allow more time for COVID-19 cases to stabilize in Marion County.
Well, one local school district is welcoming students back to the classroom today. You'll remember Avon Community Schools was the first district to close amid COVID-19. Now it is among the first to reopen. RTV6's Stephanie Wade is speaking with parents who are having mixed emotions today.
Well, students in Avon are back in the classroom starting today. Like other school districts across the state, they gave families two options: return to in-person classes or fully virtual online learning.
It was rough sending them today with the masks and putting them on the bus with the masks.
We stayed up last night scared and anxious.
Wondering if we made the right decision.
Right.
Mixed emotions from parents in Avon today as they said goodbye to their kids and headed back to school.
I don't like being the first school to go back, but somebody has to be.
I wish they would have just said, this is what we're doing, no choice. So then you don't feel that guilt. It's because you feel guilty either way.
Jamie and Cody Herget even had their kids practice wearing face masks all day yesterday just to get used to it.
They wanted to go back, so we told them, if you want to go back, you have to follow the rules or they're going to send you home. And they both love school so much that they were fine with it.
In March, Avon Community Schools was the first district in Indiana to close after a student tested positive for the coronavirus at Hickory Elementary. The district tells me about 85% of families chose in-person learning for their students, and 15% chose virtual. They declined all interview requests today, but Superintendent Scott Wyndham tweeting this morning, 5 months of preparation for welcoming students today. Students are masked up and ready to go.
All the measures they have in place, I feel like they are doing as much as they can with the masks. They've removed furniture to space out desks. They've rearranged the schedule so that kids aren't constantly passing in the hallway.
Students have assigned seats on buses, in classrooms, and in the cafeteria. According to Governor Holcomb's executive order, masks are required for all school staff and teachers, as well as for students in 3rd grade and up. Anyone who tests positive will be quarantined for 14 days before returning to school, and the county health department will do contact tracing.
Introduce their teachers, introduce their class kind of, and then they're all going to be back home in a couple of weeks. Because, I mean, the first case that happens, they're going to have to shut it all down.
I feel like it's worth trying.
Worth trying.
Yeah, I mean, and that sounds silly to try something with your kids, but at the same time, you know, I feel like this is going to be around for a long time.
Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Well, families have until August 7th to change their minds and switch from in-person to fully virtual or vice versa. After that, elementary and intermediate students must stay with their choice until the end of the first grading period on September 25th. Middle and high school students have to stay with their choice for the semester. You can find all of the latest information from local school districts on their plans and tips to navigate this unprecedented year at theindychannel.com/safely back to school. And another part of our Safely Back to School initiative is a back to school town hall brought to you by our partners at Radio 1. Tomorrow, hear from local leaders in education and healthcare and get important information and best practices to help keep your children safe. The Radio 1 Back to School Town Hall is tomorrow from 1 to 3. You can listen live on Hot 96.3, AM 1310 The Light, 106.7 WTLC, and the RTV6 Facebook page.
Safety decisions made by school, state, and local leaders are all driven by the numbers. And today, Governor Holcomb announced that Indiana will remain in stage 4.5 for at least another month. The current stage will continue until at least August 27th. Today, the state reported 630 new positive cases, all recorded yesterday. While the numbers are still high, except for yesterday, we have seen a steady decline from Friday's record high of 1,011 cases. The statewide total is nearly 65,000. The overall positivity rate remains at 8.9%. And 8 more Hoosiers have died from COVID-19. Those deaths occurred between June 26th and yesterday. The statewide total is 2,733. And by the way, confirmed deaths from coronavirus in the U.S. have now hit 150,000, by far the highest toll in the world.
New numbers reveal more than 60% of the state's COVID-19 deaths happened at long-term care facilities. There is a significant increase from the state's previous claims that nursing home deaths were half of the state's total. Call 6 Investigates' Kara Kenny has been tracking the numbers for months now and joins us with today's developments.
New numbers released this week show 1,600 nursing home residents have died from COVID-19, making up 60% of the state's total, a significant uptick. But it's not that nursing home residents are in more danger. It's how the state is collecting and reporting the information. Here's what changed. On July 1st, the state agreed to release nursing home deaths and cases broken down by specific nursing home after pressure from Call 6 Investigates and AARP Indiana. As a result, nursing homes were required to submit their COVID-19 data from March 1st through July 14th. That information is now posted on the state's website.
But now that we're stepping back and taking a comprehensive look at it, the situation is worse than what we thought it was. And so I definitely think that there is something that we can learn. And it just shows how important transparency is through all of this.
The new nursing home death data goes back to March 1st rather than April 8th as the state previously required.
We're pleased that we're finally seeing these numbers, but this is exactly the reason why we were asking for them, because we weren't getting a complete picture of what was going on.
AARP Indiana says the disparities show the importance of good data gathering and reporting.
The difference in the new numbers from what had been previously reported, it just shows how important it is to make this information publicly available. Families need to know it, communities need to know it, and we need to know it as a system to better deploy the resources for the residents and for the staff.
This afternoon, the state reminded everyone the new numbers are preliminary and may still change.
I do want to emphatically put to rest a concern that's been voiced by some. We have never underreported or hid data. Right? We have always reported the aggregate data facilities submitted to us. However, the way we collected data from facilities has changed.
As of this week, 95% of long-term care facilities have reported their historical data to the State Department of Health, and they're working to gather an additional 5%. Kara Kenny, RTV6.
AARP recommends asking the following questions of your loved one's nursing home. Has anyone tested positive for COVID-19? What is the facility doing to prevent infections? Is the nursing home at full staff? Does the facility have the PPE it needs? And lastly, what are you doing to help residents stay connected to loved ones?
Tonight at antibody therapy created from one of the very first people in the U.S. to recover from COVID-19 is being tested on people with the virus right here in Indiana. Eli Lilly has selected hospitals as research sites, but as our Nicole Griffin reports, now they need adults who have tested positive for the virus to participate in this study.
Franciscan Health is one of just 24 hospitals across the country that has been chosen to take part in this new clinical study. They are putting out the call to action right now to adults ages 18 and older who have recently tested positive for COVID-19 to take part.
It was all kind of a blur when I was sick, just sitting at home, feeling miserable, trying to stay away from my family.
It started as a fever on March 15th. ER nurse Emily Kornprop says it then developed into a dry cough. Eventually, she lost her sense of taste and smell and tested positive for COVID-19. She finally tested negative and was able to return to work, taking care of other COVID patients.
My grandfather actually came down with the virus and was transported from Newcastle to Franciscan and did receive a plasma donation. Unfortunately, he did end up passing away. He was 94 years old and just couldn't, his body just couldn't take the virus.
Based on her experience, Kornprop says it is exciting to know the hospital where she works was chosen to take part in this new trial called the Blaze 1 study. Dr. Ahmad Shana is the principal investigator for the hospital.
We will be infusing this monoclonal antibody that's directed against a protein at the surface of the virus, and hoping that this will basically neutralize the virus and prevent it from entering our cells and replicating.
Some patients will receive the trial and others will receive placebo or water. The staff and patient will not know which one until the end. Working for you, Nicole Griffin, RTV6. To be eligible for the Blaze 1 study, you must have tested positive for COVID-19 3 days prior to the study drug infusion. They are looking for patients that have mild symptoms and are not hospitalized. We will put a link with how you can take part on the RTV6 app.
Now to new developments in a story that we've been following for weeks in the city of Indianapolis. IMPD's use of force policy. A new policy is now officially in place. RTV6's Cameron Riddle joins us now live with the details just announced today. Cameron.
Mark, good evening. That new use of force policy focuses heavily on de-escalating situations when police arrive on scene. It also makes some clear language about what officers should do, and that includes intervening when they arrive on the situation of a scene and see that one of their fellow members of law enforcement is violating the law or department policy. Chief of Police Randall Taylor calls the adoption of these new rules a substantial milestone. Among the new policy is a duty to intervene and report when inappropriate force is used. This could have changed the outcome in Minneapolis, where 3 officers assisted Officer Derek Chauvin in the arrest that led to George Floyd's death. In Indianapolis, that policy would now create action requiring that officer to immediately call a supervisor to the scene. The use of chokeholds is also now explicitly banned and clearly written in the department's policy, along with clear directions on when to use lethal or less lethal force. The change now prohibits officers from shooting into or from a moving vehicle. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says updating the police department's use of force policy has been years in the making.
Candidly, I made a commitment that we would update the use of force policy after the tragic death of Aaron Bailey 2 years ago. It's long overdue. It, I think, is more appropriate and addresses some of the community's concerns about the appropriate use of force for our law enforcement professionals. And I'm glad to see that it's been formally adopted.
IMPD is currently redeveloping the rules to be in line with the department's training. They say officers will start receiving the updated policies in their training as soon as next month. We're live outside of police headquarters. I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Cameron, thank you. A heads up now for anyone traveling downtown in the next couple of days. Indiana Avenue will be closed starting tomorrow afternoon from Blackford Street to West Street for the painting of the Black Lives Matter mural approved by the City County Council. This closure will last until Monday afternoon.
Tonight, we pause to remember a man who did not lead our state for a long period of time. but certainly left a lasting impact. Former Governor Joe Kernan died today after battling Alzheimer's. Kernan's record of service to this country and state is long and varied. He graduated from Notre Dame and joined the Navy. He spent 11 months as a Vietnam prisoner of war after his plane was shot down. Upon returning home, he began a career in business and later served 3 consecutive terms as mayor of South Bend. He was in his second term as lieutenant governor when Frank O'Bannon died unexpectedly of a stroke in 2003. He finished out the term as governor and lost the 2004 election to Mitch Daniels. He retired from politics in 2005, but stayed active, including leading a team of investors to purchase and keep South Bend's baseball team in town. Today, current Governor Eric Holcomb reflected on the incredible life of one of his predecessors.
City of South Bend, indeed the state of Indiana, the nation, the Navy, lost a good man. We lost a trusted man, a devoted man, a loyal man, someone who taught so many so much. He had a loving toughness, a grit about him that I will never be able to relate to, and thankfully most of us won't have to, because he did. When General Douglas MacArthur talked about duty, honor, and country, the general was talking exactly about Joe Kernan, our Joe Kernan.
Governor Holcomb directed flags statewide to be flown at half-staff to honor Governor Kernan until sunset Wednesday, August 5th. He's survived by his wife Maggie and seven siblings. There will be no public services at this time due to the COVID-19 situation. We'll be right back.
RTV6 and the Indiana Black Expo are teaming up for the virtual Hiring Hoosiers Employment Opportunity Fair. It's tomorrow from noon until 4. Quality employers are coming together to help you take the next steps in your career, and immediate job openings are available. To get connected, just visit indianablackexpo.com.
Strange packets in the mail. Have you heard about this? There's a warning across the nation about mystery shipments of seed from China. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to explain why experts are advising people not to plant them, and she also talked with a woman who received them.
Oh my gosh, I received some of those packages. Let me see who I need to call. Because I've seen other states listed. Indiana was not on the list originally.
Tiffany Craig thought nothing of it when an Amazon order she canceled still showed up last month.
I have received 2 different packages of seeds.
Though she wasn't expecting the package, she wrote it off as a mix-up and planned to plant the seeds next year until she logged onto social media yesterday.
Seen it on Facebook yesterday, a post, and I'm like, seeds from China. I received seeds from China. What do I do with these? And then everybody kept posting different posts saying, oh, we'll call Purdue. Here's the number to Natural Resources.
Turns out she's not alone. Mysterious packages have been popping up all over the U.S. In some cases, people didn't even request them.
It says from the China Post, and it says onion stud earring, and the other package says shallot stud earring. I'm like, well, why were they labeled earrings? That's odd.
She says the packaging itself was misleading and describes what she found inside.
They look like they may be like cantaloupe seeds or pumpkin seeds, and not what I thought I ordered.
The USDA and agriculture experts want the seeds turned in for testing because they believe it's an invasive plant. They say anyone who gets a package like this with seeds inside shouldn't just plant them. Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Find more information about who to contact regarding these mysterious seeds when you read this story on the IndyChannel.com. Kevin.
Amanda, as promised, a warmer day today, and temperatures are actually peaking right now. You step outside, temperatures in the upper 80s. Let me make a few sweeping statements here about the next 7 days. Pretty easy to say below average temperatures with several days staying in the 70s for highs, and we'll have a daily chance for rain as well. Rain sits just a state away from near St. Louis across southern Illinois, touching southwest Indiana. They'll struggle to move northeast tonight. So we'll see an increase in cloud cover, but we'll stay dry. Tonight, the The thunderstorms arrive tomorrow. 88 in Lafayette, 92 in Bedford, 88 in Bloomington, 1 degree cooler in Indy. In other words, it's warm everywhere. Won't be that warm again over the next week. 7 a.m. tomorrow. Showers, thunderstorms most likely southwest Indiana, and it's really the southern half of the state, Terre Haute to Indy to Richmond south, where the rain chances will be greatest tomorrow. You can see 1 o'clock in the afternoon through 4. Some spots in the southern portion of the state could see 1 to 2 inches of rain before that starts to pull away on Thursday night. There are your temperatures tomorrow. One of many days where folks will stay in the 70s for highs. Friday, what changes? The overall rain chance diminishes on Friday. Temperatures will struggle around 80 degrees. Excuse me. As you look at the 7-day forecast, temperatures in the 60s on most occasions. Look next week, we'll be at 59 by the time we get to Wednesday morning. This daily chance for showers and thunderstorms at about 30 to 40%. But obviously a cool start to the month of August with temperatures running about 5 or 6 degrees below average. We'll be back with more news at 5 after this.
The celebration of Halloween will look different this year at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. Organizers announced today that due to the pandemic, the traditional indoor haunted house will not take place this year. Instead, they are working on a new October event that will take place outdoors in the Riley Children's Health Sports Legends experience.
I'm Megan Sanctorum. Coming up, we'll tell you about a local organization that's helping people who may have been displaced from their jobs due to COVID learn skills for a new career.